Oh, how's it going? Nice to see everybody here. BG Reynolds Tiki Bar live. Here, live from snowy Portland, Oregon. Yeah, it's snowing outside today. Isn't that crazy? Feels like it's late in the year for it to be snowing, at least according to my, internal calendar. Always remember when you're juicing your limes, take those little stickers off as often as you can. It's not that they're going to impact much on the juice, but you never know when it's going to get into a customer's drink. And that's just not a pleasant experience. Not that I've ever had that happen to me, but I have seen a great picture of an airport bar where not only was the lime more shades of brown and yellow than green, but there was also a very well-sliced piece of produce sticker there. But anyway, welcome. I am still doing some juicing, a little bit of prep work. And you know what? I am trying something new tonight as well. Oh, hello, Ryan. Hello, Parker. I am going to go onto the Instagrams, if I can. So let's see here. I do not even flipping know how to do this. Grandpa says, live. Let's do this live. F it. We'll do it live. Start live video. Okay. If you guys are sorry not to pester, I'm going to go say hello. Hi, Instagrams. Hello. You're going to just be seeing the top of my head. Okay. You're not getting the same angle, but you're just going to see the top of my head and some piping up here. But you're going to get a great experience as I talk to you. This is my Instagram. I've also got the BG Reynolds Tiki Bar group on Facebook, which I would recommend joining if you get a chance. We have daily topics, discussion topics, all sorts of fun stuff. Instagram Live is pretty cool. You can actually see the things. Hello, lots of waves. How is it going on the Facebooks? Brenda. Ooh, yeah. Nice. Drink pick. I want to see that. But first, let's get to the lineman because we got some drinks to make tonight because it's somebody's birthday. 1907, little town in Texas. Little baby, sweet little baby by the name of Ernest Raymond Beaumont Gaunt was born this very day. That man, later known as Donn Beach or Don the Beachcomber, pretty much brought us to where we are today, developed this whole tiki culture, amalgamating all that he had learned on his travels through Caribbean islands into not the modern tiki bar experience. It was very, very different back then. More of what you would call a bamboo bar, very simple, very islandy. I don't recall there being actually any tikis of the first Don's bars. There may have been. I'm trying to remember an old picture that I once saw. But anyway, we are just juicing up some oranges with some lime for our upcoming drinks. We're going to do some drinks in a tribute to Don. I've got the hey, Brandon. It's harder to say hey to so many people on Instagrams. Also, Instagram, Facebook. Hey, have you guys met? You really should. We should figure this out, how to do the streaming. We're having some technological issues. I actually got a lapel mic. I thought would be really fun. It would be a chance to actually be able to talk and not have so much environmental noise. Unfortunately, my jerry-rig solution to get the lapel mic working did not actually work, so I thought about jerry-rigging it another way, and that didn't work. So, if anybody out there, whether you're on Instagram or on Facebook, has some AV experience with live streaming, I would love to hear your recommendations because my brain's a little jumbled. Years of rum and children will do that to you. All right. This wasn't quite enough orange juice. Welcome to the Juicing Channel. I'll be your juicer today. Squeeze them oranges. So, anyway, Donn Beach. We are going to celebrate his life with some cocktails. The thing about Donn Beach, having started this, I see so much. I want to talk about his character. You can talk about his history all you want. It's on Wikipedia, and you'll get, a decent overview. Books like, I believe Sip and Safari has a decent, maybe not. But Don the Beachcomber was a character, a caricature, and really a forceful personality. Almost more like when I first started getting into the tiki scene, I didn't even think he was real. I thought he was some sort of, yes, Sarah, we do need to fix the ceiling. I thought Don the Beachcomber was some sort of myth or legend, some kind of made-up character like Kelbo or Steve Crane. No, Steve Crane's real. But it turns out he was a real person. And as I researched more and looked more into him, I found out so much more about this man who was not just oh, hey, he started this new tiki bar movement. No, he was a very interesting character, a very... he took a unique path in life, found himself in times of a great travel, moving on to entrepreneurship, going into war, having to restart entrepreneurship for all over again from square one. Well, square 1.5, but he was a fascinating character. One of my favorite items about Don the Beachcomber is he called himself in. So there's this book that it's not super well written, but a lot of it actually does come from Don's archives. It is a self-published book by Arnold Bittner, the now husband of Don's second wife, Phoebe Beach. And Arnold wrote the book, Scrounging the Islands with the legendary Don the Beachcomber, host to diplomat, beachcomber, prince, and pirate. It is not a great tome, but it does have a lot of bits and pieces of Don's character. Not only his, starting the tiki bar, but during his time in the war, during his time looking at the islands, creating great tourism for the state of Hawaii. He was actually signed in a Hawaii resolution thanking him as the, this is one of my favorites. Whereas Donn Beach, known to the world for 25 years as Don the Beachcomber and as creator of the South Sea Island trend in decor, dining, and entertainment. Anyway, he was loved and revered. Some may not love and revere him because of the way that he washed over the culture, but here and there, he brought a lot of money into the state of Hawaii, and they are pretty thrilled with him. But he calls himself here in this lovely chapter about some of his adventures. Where is this? Bush beer, come on. Don, in his, I found out he doesn't have the deep baritone I was expecting, and actually got a chance to hear a bit of Don's voice once. Turns out very high-pitched, reedy, and with a little bit of a transatlantic vibe. But Don said, "It was once said I was a man who had built a successful career out of being a tropical tramp of the more picturesque persuasion. Tropical tramp? No. Tropical scrounger? Yes." A lot of the adventures that are in this book talk about him having to requisition certain things, particularly during wartime, finding things that were useful around him. He really took advantage of the things that were around him and made them better, brought new industries. Mint, there's a story of him bringing mint from the U.S. or from the U.S. mainland into Hawaii. Brandon, the name of the book is this one, Scrounging the Islands. Have to show it to Instagram. Sorry, Facebook. I know it's getting really confused here. Oh, yeah. Nolan! Cobra's Fang sounds delicious. Ooh, Corey, KC? Ooh, Corey, you frequenting Tiki Cat? I'm dying to see that place. I always say it looks like the world's best basement bar, which is high compliment coming from me. It looks amazing. So anyway, utilizing the things that were around him to make, he got mint from the U.S. mainland, put it in his hat, brought it to Hawaii, handed it to one of his farmer friends, and suddenly the guy's making mint. And a mint off of it. Ha, ha. Okay. Anyway, it's an excellent book, and I really do recommend it. There's some other books from Arnold Bittner and Phoebe Beach. This one is Hawaii, Tropical Rum Drinks and Cuisine by Don the Beachcomber. Now, what has been written about Don the Beachcomber in these books, for the most part, is solid. What I cannot stand that is continually written about is the battle over the Mai Tai. Whether it's Don originated it or Vic originated it, you can tell fairly simply who originated it through the ingredients. And we're going to talk a little bit about what somebody referred to as Don's palate. Earlier today, I asked what things people would like to see in tonight's broadcast, and Don's palate was brought to mind. So when you're talking about what was on Don's menu, and this has been verified, he did have a drink called the Mai Tai Swizzle. Trader Vic invented the drink we know today as the Mai Tai. One of the crucial ingredients in a Mai Tai is orgeat, a French almond liqueur, French almond syrup. Trader Vic's parents were French grocers. He would have had exposure to orgeat. Don the Beachcomber has no orgeat in any of his cocktails that can be attributed to him. Inventor of the Mai Tai name? Probably Don. Inventor of the Mai Tai cocktail that we know and love today? Trader Vic. That's my humble opinion, and I would love to see more evidence for it, again it, however. Anyway, just doing a sweep for comments. I really like talking. But let's get into making some drinkamophiles. Don the Beachcomber, of course, was known for making some of the most fantastic cocktails ever made. When you're talking, again, about Don's palate, a lot of what he brought to the table, and I think something that was missing for decades from the idea of tropical drinks, was spice. Whether it was in falernum with its ginger, lime profile, whether it was pimento dram, his use of small dashes of absinthe or Pernod, that was unique and unusual, and that is such a great... you try the drinks that call for absinthe without it, and it changes the profile entirely. Of course, you can also change the profile entirely by dumping way too much in. It is such an easy to overdo it ingredient that I always like to keep mine in this handy dandy dropper bottle. Can you see that, Instagrams? Woo. Just makes it super easy to dole out. Typically, with one of these eyedroppers, they're not the most accurate of things, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just enough to flavor the cocktail, to bring in what I find that anise brings, the anise flavor that you get. It brings length. It lays on the tongue and lets the other flavors wash in around it. I think it's a fantastic ingredient, and it's something that could be used more widely in absinthe-driven cocktails. Don's famed, what we like to call the 1-2 punch, and this is in the Zombie and a number of other Don's drinks, is the 1-2 punch of Angostura bitters and absinthe. And I find that both ties the room together and stretches the flavor. So that's my bro science made up BS. I'm sure somebody somewhere out there could actually put that through a spectrometer and figure it out. But until they're doing that with wine, I will make up my alcohol cocktail fun as well. So, drinks. That's going to be my wife's favorite part because she's going to help me with them after this. I wanted to talk about the Pearl Diver. Pearl Diver is one of these drinks that it has 2 iterations. You started off with the Pearl Diver's Punch. The Pearl Diver's Punch is a much more complex, a little complicated drink. Eventually, it was streamlined into the Pearl Diver, which has a few less ingredients, a little less rum. It's just a little simpler to make. And for high-volume establishments, man, I get it. So, with the Pearl Diver, one of the key ingredients is something that's called Don's batter. What this was made with was honey. If Don was using it, it was typically orange blossom honey. And butter. Butter in a cocktail. Well, if there's egg in a cocktail, I don't think we can go too much further. But butter adds a silky, smooth richness to the cocktail that you just can't get normally. Now, do I have butter with me right here? No, and that's because I have my own way of putting this together that was actually backed up by Jason Alexander from Devil's Reef and Tacoma Cabana on the Facebook group today. And Instagram, join the Facebook group. BG Reynolds Tiki Bar. Look it up on the Facebooks. Please join. I do lots of live streaming, and I type, and words come out, and people also put words in. It's very fun. So Don's batter, as I said, using butter. Now, I actually stopped using butter, number one, because one of my bartender friends requested we not use it because she was lactose intolerant. Number two, it just becomes another difficult ingredient. Butter is very, very temperature sensitive, particularly when you're mixing something like this. So I actually like to use cream of coconut. Totally different product. I understand it. I get it. Does it make a delicious cocktail? F to the yes. Also makes a good substitute if you're using making a cocktail like a bachita, and want to use it in place of a sweetened condensed milk. Again, dairy intolerance. There is also a product that is a coconut butter, Artisanal. Artisanal is the brand name that makes this lovely, wonderful coconut butter. Again, hyper temperature sensitive. And you want this to be able to mix very, very easily and readily so that you can pour a great cocktail very quickly. But I'm going to mix up just a little bit of my coconut cream variant in my handy dandy Novo Fogo mason jar. Novo Fogo, because if you love cachaça, you'll love Novo Fogo, and you might get a free mason jar. This came with a Caprina making kit. So anyway, we're going to put together some cream of coconut. Where's my honey? A lovely raw, unfiltered honey product. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find orange blossom honey, which is a damn shame because it's a great product. This lends a little bit more citrus flavor. I don't like clover, and I don't like, if you're in the store and you have to pick any honey, try to pick a wildflower honey or something that is not clover. Clover adds a very different, Setter Pie, this stand is like, this is the stand, unfortunately. Maybe I can add a little something behind it. Like this copy of the Grog Log. All right. A little better. A little. Okay. There. So, I've got equal parts cream of coconut and honey. And then I'm going to add, where could I find some cinnamon or vanilla syrup? It's good to be BG Reynolds sometimes, I swear. So just a little dash of this stuff. Not too much. Officially, according to most recipes, you're going to want to use 1 ounce of the cream of coconut, 1 ounce of the honey, ½ ounce of cinnamon, 1/4 ounce of vanilla, and a few drops of pimento dram. And this, because it doesn't have the butter temperature issue, it will be very, very, very easy to mix, maybe even a little easier to pour. Who took my allspice dram? Hey, I'm Tiki. All right, and just a few drips of that. Allspice dram is very, very potent, so you really don't need much more than that. So let's mix that up. The good thing about using the syrup as opposed to dry ingredients, you need something extra with the honey. Honey is just so thick, it'll freeze right up once you start mixing. Okay, So this is not recommended for all you professional bartenders out there, but since I know I'm not using this spoon later, fuck yeah. Delicious. That's so good. All right. I swear I'm going to sanitize that at some point in time. So we've got our Donn's batter made up. Let's put together the modern pearl diver. Just a little simpler, just a little easier. And I'm actually going to spindle mix this. So first, fancy glassware here. That's the Pearl Diver glass from the Beach Bum Berry collection over at Cocktail Kingdom. And all right, let's put in some gold Puerto Rican rum. You know, I only found this Cuban stuff, so. All right, okay. This has one of these disasters here, the no drip top, whatever the hell you call it. Can't stand the damn things. If I had a pair of pliers, usually I'll use those. But in this case, I'll just try and use a wine key. See if I can't hook it and plug it right out. Such an inconvenience. Let's grab a speed pour. And I apologize if there's comments flying. I'm doing my best to keep up. All right. Okay, 1.5. A half ounce lime. A half ounce orange. And then another half ounce of my beautiful batter. Remind me never to call this my beautiful batter. Yeah, that was a bad idea. But that's why we're here. We're learning, we're growing, we're sharing. All right. That's going to need a rinse out. This is man, I miss having a bar rinser because you have to clean everything by hand. Now, when it comes to a cocktail like this, here's something I'm super particular about, and that is the size of the cocktail and the size of the glass. Making sure that you put just enough or just slightly less ice than you'll need in order to make the cocktail proper. Oh, how could I? So normally, right now I'm using an ice scoop, something I usually like to do, especially when things are perfectly set up. Here I've got a very deep well and a very short crushed ice bucket. Thank you, Justin. Blair's Beautiful Batter coming 2019. Blair's Prison Sentence coming later 2019. When you're picking up crushed ice, you'll have to be particular about exactly how much you're using. So I like to use a measuring cup, actually, to pick up crushed ice. This one is not my favorite. The one I like to get, and I probably need to quit my bar with, just toting it so much, just a nice straight-sided one from Cash and Carry or Restaurant Depot, one of your restaurant supply stores. Makes it super easy. You don't have to deal with all this funky stuff. And you can measure your ice perfectly every time. All right. Spindle. Spindle. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, yeah. All right. Let's see how that's turning out here. You know what? Realize I'm committing a cardinal sin. Forgetting the dash of Angostura bitters. All right. Give it another spin. It's a great thing about spindle mixers. If you mess up when you're blending something, it's done forever. But if you're just using a spindle mixer, it doesn't reach out the ice, so you're not exactly messing it up again. So as you can see, can you see? Instagram, can you see? I can't get the right camera angle, but even though the coconut cream is not dairy, you still get these big, beautiful bubbles. I always think the Pearl Diver was called that because you get these big, pearly bubbles on top of it when it's made proper. As you can see, I am a little low on ice, so I'm going to top that off. Always make sure the cocktails have a nice big dome of ice on top. The finer you can get the crushed ice, the better. Unfortunately, this is crushed ice from the home refrigerator, so not quite as nice as I normally like. let's top that off with a little something here. Let me say, let's use our nice eco-friendly paper straws. Put one of these in here. Maybe a nice sprig of mint. Don't believe the drink originally calls for it, but a nice sprig of mint is always lovely. Make sure you give it a little spanking. Make a little floral and fragrant there. So, Pearl Diver, modern version. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is why I fell in love with tiki drinks in the first place. Shit, that's delicious. Oh, man. Instagram, you getting this? Facebook, you got it? All right. Yeah, Michael, I'll be sure to post the recipe afterwards. Okay, so we've got our Pearl Diver. Let that flow in the veins just a little bit. That's good stuff. Yeah. Man, I got to clean this tin out. All right. So the Pearl Diver's Punch, very, very tasty, beautiful cocktail. And there's nothing like signature glassware. You know, I love it when different cocktails have different glassware, like just associated with it. Like this will always be Pearl Diver's Punch glassware. But let's move on to a drink. One of my ice on the computer. That's never a good sign. Let's move on to one of my favorite drinks and a good excuse for me to break out one of my favorite tools that seems to have gotten a lot of hate over the past decade or so. But for me, it's just something I can't live without. I have to stand by my pride. I am a blender defender. I think fluffy, icy cocktails, slushy drinks are goddamn delicious. I can't recall in my ancient research whether these actually were at Don's bar. There's a great picture of him actually making up drinks behind his bar, where it shows spindle mixers, but I can't recall if there were actually any blenders behind there. Anyway, I'm going to make one of my favorite drinks, the Missionary's Downfall. There was a big hubbub on the board today talking about whether the Missionary's Downfall could be made with a spindle mixer. I am not 100% certain that that's going to happen, partly because with the Missionary's Downfall, there's mint in it, little leaves. Little leaves get into your teeth, and they become an unpleasant texture, so I'm just not positive about it. But I'm going to give it a shot anyway, because that's what we're here for, is having fun, experimenting, trying new things, and watching me stumble around and pretend like I don't know how to bartend anymore. I know how to bartend. I'd kill for a better setup, though. I'm going to use a nice Magdalena rum, although one of my favorites with Missionary's Downfall is Denizen. That is a beautiful, beautiful white rum. So, Missionary's Downfall. I'm going to start off. Just FYI, I'm just throwing this out there. I'm going to be using Rich Demerara in place of honey. Reason being, Rich Demerara is just much easier to work with. I love the honey, but again, you got to keep honey mix. Should I come out with a B.G. Reynolds honey mix? Probably. But for now, we'll do what we got. We'll deal with what we got. All right. 1.5. Nice light rum. Half a lime. Half of a... Oh, not this battle again. All right, this is the problem with the modern bartending solution I've got here. Let's get here. 10 years later, I found the liqueur. So this calls for a peach liqueur, which very, very, very unfortunately, I appear to have run out of. I do have something that we can use instead, which will make quite a delicious cocktail. How's that blank, the giant blank space? Mise en place, ladies and gentlemen. Mise en place. Here, everything out. Oh, for the days when everything was just set at my hands. Well, we have quite the conundrum. Ah! Right in the speed rack. I lost like 10 people on that, but that's okay. All right. So we use apricot, and that's okay. A bit of rich jam. Just a spot. And a few pineapple chunks. Usually I like to throw just one pineapple ring or pineapple spiral here. In this case, it's going to be, let's call it 4 chunks. And that is why it's going to blend. In my not so humble, modestly humble opinion. Then, get some mint leaves in here. Always make sure to use your junkiest of mint. Usually, if I've got this at a volume establishment, I kind of like to have my mint ready to go for things like this. Usually, the greater part of prep at a pro tiki bar is going to be mint picking out all the right mint sprigs, picking out all the right stuff. So, I am going to transfer this over. Since I realized I'm going to be using the blender. Be adding just enough ice. Just enough ice. Not too much. Not too much. And I'm going to blend this one because that's the way it goes. Ready? Loud! You have to use your ears. Bartending is about using all of your senses. Your eyes to watch the customer, eyes to watch your glasses where going in. You have to use your ears. Mostly I hear ticket printers. But in this case, I'm using my ears to hear what the ice sounds like. Does that sound ridiculous? Absolutely. But by hearing what the ice is sounding like, I can tell exactly what state it's in. So right now, this is actually just a little more liquid than I like. Put in just a little too much ice, but that's okay. We make happy mistakes. Without the bad times, we wouldn't know the good times, right? Thank you, Bob Ross. So it's nice. It's fluffy. We put a nice little, not a sprig, just a little bit of love, a little heart, a little mint heart. For you folks on Instagram, do be sure to join the BG Reynolds Tiki Bar Facebook group. The link is in my Instagram bio. Join it. There's lots of fun stuff coming up. Right now, we're just having a little daily discussion, doing the live video. But I got some things up my sleeve, up my very short sleeve. So look forward to that. So, Missionary's downfall. Cheers. Yeah, that works. The quality of pineapple is not my favorite. That did come from canned pineapple, but so be it. We do what we do. Now, let's try that again. Switch reverse and move it into spindle mixer. There's the mint leaves on the bottom of that. I always love the mint leaves on the bottom of the shaker tin there. Yeah. Oh, there goes those napkins. So, once again, a little faster this time, maybe. Half. It's going to be a little ambidextrous. Got to learn to flip your jigger to the right position, as is needed. Because we're going to spindle mix this one, I'm going to use just a little less pineapple. The hope being that it's not going to be all too crazy. Because like I say, a spindle mixer is not going to chop your ingredients. Which for a drink like this, which has a few solid ingredients, is concerning to me. But I've never done it before, so there's always time to learn. Strip apart the mint a little bit. All right. Got everything in there. A little less ice this time. Just a little less. And what the hell? Spindle makes the Missionary's downfall. I have my guesses. Do you? Fluffy. Very fluffy in the glass. Or in the mixer. See a lot of solids. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm going to say negative on that because you know what? Those solids, yeah, look at the bottom of this here. This tin. Trying not to spill anything there. But you can see there's just chunks. There's the pineapple chunks and some mint chunks. And this glass looks like hot leaf water. Well, cold leaf water. How's the taste? Interesting. It actually, okay. Lessons in dilution. The ice has less surface area here and is less a part of the entire solution than in the blended version. So what's happening here is this tastes a lot stronger, a little too strong in my humble opinion. A blended drink, you can put almost everything you want in a blended drink because it's just going to taste nice and smooth and done right with great ingredients. It's going to be an amazing drink. I like blended cocktails. I'm a blender defender. T-shirts, anybody? T-shirts? Anybody want T-shirts for blender defenders? Oh, nice. Yeah, this. I think there's. I just saw that there's acrylic versions of the Pearl Diver glassware. The Pearl comparison photo. I don't do photography, babe. The Pearl Diver glassware is honestly. I've opened up quite a few of them, and they're full of flaws. They are very, very fragile. So it looks like they've come up with an acrylic version, which does mix a little better. Oh, yeah, I dumped this drink because it was not a quality drink, and I would not serve it to somebody. Precious booze, no! So, being that this is about Donn Beach, and not just my predilection for mixers, let's talk about Donald Phineas Q. Beachcomber. No, about Donn Beach's most infamous cocktail, the Zombie. The Zombie, as the famous tale is told, came about when a customer said, a customer came into the bar, said he needs something that would wake the dead. He had had a rough work week and just needed to feel alive again. So Don whipped up this concoction, gave him something to and gave him quite the treat. The first one made him feel alive and sprightly and wonderful, and the second one put him back down in the grave. And there's tales of contests. Don had it famously on his menu that you could order a maximum of 2. Of course, somebody ordered 3, and their head hit the bar. Of course, Don had laced it with a little bit of glycerin to make the alcohol hit faster. But anyway, let's go into this. A nice, fresh zombie. I do make a zombie punch mix. The reason being, this is a famously complex cocktail. A lot of people don't want to do right, and I do want to. And besides, you go into the stores and you see zombie mix, and it's blue. What? It's not exactly direct with this. With what I'm about to say, but back in the bad days, back before tiki came back around, there was an old saying amongst bartenders: somebody orders a zombie, a Mai Tai, a Sidewinder's Fang, whatever. 2 rules: make it red, make it rum. You couldn't go wrong as long as it was brightly colorful and tasted like pineapples and rum. You were fine. You made your tropical drink. Your customer would be satisfied. I've had plenty of those cocktails. They are not great. They often use more liqueurs in place of rums. They have a tendency to be extremely sweet, just very unenjoyable, and not the classic cocktail experience that we have come to know today. So, boy, am I happy that Jeff Berry did his research and Sven did his research and wrote those books that got us all started on this terrific journey. So, zombie. Now, I am going to mix up some rums here because I like riffing things up a little bit. So for my zombie, I'm going to go for that gold Cuban rum, 1.5 ounces. I'm going to go for 1.5 dark Jamaican. I do like the darker flavors. I like dark, really rich rum combinations. And then, of course, the extra kicker, Demerara 151, about 3/4 ounces of that. And then we're going to start pouring out Paradise Blend. So I call this Paradise Blend, originally known as Donn's Mix. Comes from a blend of grapefruit and cinnamon. It's kind of a pre-made version of that. And do you know what I use in my Paradise Blend? I use grapefruit and I use cinnamon. No flavorings or any of that crap. I use real grapefruit juice and real cinnamon. Same exact cinnamon that I use for my cinnamon syrup, which is, I've read a lot of cinnamon syrup recipes, and I'm very glad to say mine is probably the most complex out there. I use a blend of cinnamons in order to get both the sharp bite of the sharp bite of cassia, as well as the fruity earthiness of Ceylon cinnamon. There are different types of cinnamon, and all of them are delicious, but I like to blend it. So you get a little bit of the red hot and a little bit of earthiness. Anyway, Paradise Blend. 1/2 ounce of that sucker. Okay. Falernum. 1/2 ounce Falernum. Gonna use my house-made. Well, B.G. Reynolds house-made because it came from somebody's house. Hey, it's in my house now. Splash of grenadine. Bartenders, always open your stuff ahead of time. Just 1/4 ounce. 3/4 ounce lime. You notice I'm using the lime after the syrups, just because I like to think it washes it out a little bit. Helps clean all the rest of the jigger out. And then Donn's infamous 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's like Rain Man with absinthe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Mint. All right. I'm going to fill this sucker up. Plenty of crushed ice. We talk about a drink that really embodies Donn's spirit. It has just about everything that you would call in a traditional Don the Beachcomber cocktail. Grapefruit, cinnamon, falernum, bitters, absinthe, shitload of rums. He really kind of hit it off the bat from day one. Spindle mix for the frothiness. And then, all right, let that settle a second. I'm a little disappointed with somebody be if there was a little bit left in the tin that the bartender didn't give to them. Shame, shame, shame. Let's make sure that that liquid comes out first. But then I am going to make sure, okay, so there is enough to fill. But, as I've said, always have a nice little, I'm going to use my hands here, crushed ice dome on top. The reason I like to add a crushed ice dome, number one, it's one of the first things I noticed about going to tiki bars is this, tons and tons of ice on top. And I thought, first thing, of course, I thought as a, God, what was I, 22 or something? I thought, these bartenders are trying to rip me off. They're giving me nothing but ice. Then I learned about the dilution. Number one is the dilution. Having plenty of crushed ice is great. Number two, perception. This is a drink that is overflowing the top. You can charge, the thing is about pouring something like a zombie, the pour cost on this, from a bar management perspective, the pour cost is actually intense. It's one of the higher pour costs. So what I do when pricing something like this out is I price it as it is, as I price it as needs be to keep the bar alive. But that's all right, because they become very highly ordered. Okay, nice. No cherries, no cherries, no cherries. Sorry. So, Zombie Punch. Cheers, Don. This one's to you. Oh, how can something be so potent, but so palatable at the same time? I mean, the rum is strong in this one. The rum is strong in this one. But so are the flavors, and the flavors meld all together very, very well. Part of that is because there's so much of a, honestly, my tropical drinks tend towards the sweeter, richer side. I don't really like saying sweeter. I hesitate to say that, but richer is certain. I like thickness. I like heavy viscosity in drinks. I like intense spice flavors. That's what hits my palate. And I find a lot of people like that as well. Let's see what's going on the boards here. Blender Defender. Oh, hey, Tiki Boss. Don't worry about being late, dude. That's why I reposted this the next day. Hopefully to YouTube, too. Are there any YouTubers out there? Just kidding, YouTube. You're never going to be out here. Well, no, so I'm live streaming to Instagram. Join the BG Reynolds Tiki Bar group now. And live streaming to Facebook. Someday, I might even have a YouTube live stream and who knows what else. Twitch? Anybody want to see me play video games? Be fun. It would just be 24/7 of me playing, what was that, Barkeep or Tapper? So, let me wax a little nostalgic about Donn Beach. Without Donn Beach, I wouldn't have a syrup company. I wouldn't have opened a bar. I wouldn't have had, it's getting upon almost 2 decades now, of good times, of good friends, of struggles and hardships, but gone through together. I wouldn't have this escape, this wonderful escape into paradise, away from the daily noise and traffic of everyday life, away from the pavement, away from, a good tiki bar, a great tiki bar is so much more than just a place to get good cocktails. It is an escape from everyday life. It is somewhere where you go where there is no time, much like a casino. And some of them are casinos, Frankie's Tiki Room, looking at you. But where you lose track of all the crap going on in your life, and you can really find paradise in a punch. This is tasty. Paper straws are great too. Without Donn Beach, I wouldn't be who I am today. Where would I be without his influence and his introduction, introducing me into, well, him didn't really introduce me, although we did overlap by 10 years. I could have met him. Where would I be? I don't know. Cube jockey? I'm still kind of a cube jockey, and I have no qualms about it, but it just would have been a different life without Donn Beach's influence, and I really, really, have to. I stand here on the shoulders of giants, some of which are still alive today, some of which are my, peers. Not saying much of me, but Donn Beach was an interesting man. One of the things I think he brought to Tiki that is not seen as much today, or that is often overlooked for the quality of the cocktails, is elegance, grace, class. He was a distinguished gentleman. His silhouette cut a form, so much it was a caricature, even on his menus. And somehow, this trampish look, this, island hobo kind of style he had going on, was classy. And I don't know how he pulled that off. I don't think the modern, welcome to the hobo restaurant would work quite as well. The street comber is not going to be as popular an establishment. But this elegance is, I think, a lot of the times lost on modern bartenders who they're looking at it for the cocktail's sake. They're looking at it. They'll often say things like service is number one, hospitality is number one. I don't always see that. But if you read any of this book, Scrounging the Islands with Don the Beachcomber, you can sense, he was a hard worker. He was an entrepreneur. But he also brought a sense of calm, a sense of grace and elegance to his customers, to his bar, to our lives. So that's my little rant on Don the Beachcomber. I really appreciate everything he has done for us. And I look forward to, like I say in my blog post today, anybody reading the blog? Reading the blog? Blogging lately? I always like to think that somewhere in the back of some, seedy old tiki establishment or I'll catch a glimpse of Don's ghost thinking, this is good. This is good. And someday, if my sights are set right, I might just be on a boat in the islands myself, relaxing and looking back at a wonderful life of bringing paradise. So, all right. Enough about me. How's it going out here on the interwebs? Are you all making cocktails as well? Yeah, Keith. Oh, man, don't even talk to me about LiveJournal. I found my old LiveJournal. So don't you all go out there looking for it because it's kind of disturbing. But, the internet never goes away. Speaking of which, I actually found my old TraderTiki.com website. Turns out somebody took it over, tried to write 3 blog posts in 2017. So now I'm trying to take my domain back because there's actually some good content on there that I'd really like to get back and onto the BG Reynolds website. There's some great recipes, and I held contests that had some really nice submitted recipes that I'd like to put back up on bgreynolds.com. Oh, by the by, since you're all here, if you make sure you're signing up for the newsletter, signing up for BG Reynolds Tiki Bar group. I do have a contest coming up, and starting next week, it's going to be a cocktail submission contest. So you submit a cocktail, Instagram it, hashtag it, upload your picture. I want to see what you're making, and we're going to have a winner, and they are going to get a wonderful prize package. But I want to see what you're making with my syrups. I want to see what you're making. Heck, make it without my syrups. Go ahead, see how good they are. Yeah. I just want to see the cocktails and get some original views. But we do need more recipes on the site, and I would love to have yours on there. I see BG Reynolds not as a top-down company. I want it to be a real sense of community, and that's part of what the BG Reynolds Tiki Bar group is here for. So, again, please join the BG Reynolds Tiki Bar group. I've got some really fun stuff coming up. Speaking of stuff coming up, it has just been announced that I will be bringing back Iron Tiki Tender this year to TikiCon here in the Pacific Northwest. If you haven't been to a TikiCon before, go. It is the most. I've been to a lot of Tiki events in my time. It is probably the most relaxed, enjoyable, awesome. There's no pressure. You're not packed like a sardine. The organizers have really got everything down packed. And Iron Tiki Tender, I'm so thrilled that it's going to be a part of it. It is the world's premier Tiki bartending competition. It's going to be fun. And the BG Reynolds Tiki Bar group is going to be an integral part of it. I'm going to be posting maybe some entries, maybe some exclusives, maybe let you judge some of the stuff. Anyway, just some fun thoughts and things that I'm going to be bringing to the BG Reynolds Bar group. Oh, my mouse went wild. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be very fun. Round 3 of Cobra's. Dang, Nolan. Yeah, Cobra's Fangs are one of my absolute favorite cocktails. Partly because it's an excuse to let loose on a garnish and try making a snake. But it's very, very, very tasty. It reminds me of my first attempts at Cobra's Fangs were during a backyard barbecue, and the drinks came out great. The barbecue was delicious. It was just one of the finest experiences. And I think, for me, a lot of great tropical cocktails come with an experience. I can show you actually a very particular one. This is it's a fog cutter mug from Trader Vic's. It's wonderful. Very nice. Nice Trader Vic's. Oh, what's this on the bottom? This is actually, this is from my first drink at a proper tiki establishment. February 2nd, 2003, in Trader Vic's Emeryville. I have a, let's see if it'll focus on that. Yeah, I signed that just as a memorabilia. Just something so I could remember my first proper fog cutter. And it was, wow, what a different drink than you expect. You know, I went in thinking, oh yeah, tiki drinks are going to be fruity, pineapple-y, coconut-y, something like that. Holy crap. A fog cutter is completely out of, well, I guess this is right field, but completely out of a different area. And it really was the first step in me finding out that tiki drinks are far more than just, you know, sweet, fruity, coconutty. The fog cutter introduced me to the sour aspects, to unique and interesting flavors, especially with that sherry on top. It just was light, refreshing, delicious. Then I think my next big evolution in learning flavor profiles was the tiki tea. And the tiki tea is the first time I had cinnamon in a cocktail and was mind blown. I mean, suddenly, I remember I was talking with the bartender, which any of you here should be able to name. He was the senior, and I said, I don't know. Can you suggest a cocktail? And he said, well, did you want something like kind of sweeter, or did you want something fruitier, or did you want something more like apple pie? I was like, what? Apple pie? What the hell are you talking about? But I love a good apple pie. Yes, please. So he brought me I believe it was the 151 Swizzle, and it had, not only the potent rum, but also a good kind of a brown sugar, baking spice, heavy cinnamon, and this other quality. Now, later I found this other quality actually comes from a blend of the grapefruit and cinnamon that creates this kind of bakey goodness. But that was when it was finally like, this is what I do. This excites my palate. This excites my interest. Look at this beautiful bar with all this stuff on it, but not the crazy crap like a TGIF's or a Chili's or something, but like memorabilia, things from real people. It was just this amazing. And if you haven't been to the Tiki, go. It's Mecca. They, even the walls are nicotine stained from years and years of cigarette use, which I understand they had to bring in someone who was outside of the family into bartend, and because of that, they actually had to stop smoking in the bar. So, que sera, sera. Not a big deal for me. Actually, I enjoy it a lot better now. Anyway, so what's going on the boards here? Nolan, what was my killer idea, other than Blair's beautiful batter? I do also have some other ideas that would be a great tribute to Don coming in the pipeline as I consider expanding BG Reynolds into other, it's a great brand. I think I could do more than syrups, I hope. I know I've done it, at home here. So anyway, thank you all so much for being a part of tonight's BG Reynolds Tiki Bar as we shared some memories, and I talked about my first tiki cocktail, about the man who brought it all to us, Donn Beach, his adventures. Oh, and if you, speaking of Don the Beachcomber, so I did show off this book earlier. It is a lovely book. It has some interesting recipes. It has things like instructions like put into a blender and shake. So maybe it's not the most accurate, but it is very, very interesting and, adds to your repertoire. Like I say, with any recipe, make it, then make it delicious. Try to make something that honors what is being made in front of you. But if you follow it piece by piece and it doesn't taste just right, make it delicious. So thanks again for joining the BG Reynolds Tiki Bar live from here in Portland, Oregon. Instagram, are you liking this? Because I'm liking you. Actually, gosh, it looks so smooth, but probably because it's just playing right back to me. This doesn't look as great on the Facebooks, but oh well. Yeah. Oh, you want me to do a 151 Swizzle, Tiki Boss? I've got some 151 secrets. I've got 151 secrets of the Swizzle. Yeah, not really some secrets. You just let it sit for a while. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us, and mahalo nui loa, and a cheers. This deserves a cocktail. Cheers to Don the Beachcomber. Mahalo nui loa, and I'll see you next time.